And welcome geometry to the very first section of your high school geometry class. And today we're going to just look at some important concepts to form a foundation for what we'll be talking about this year. So we're talking today about understanding points, lines, and planes. And pause your video, see if you can graph these things. Come back and check your work. So remember, when you're graphing in one variable, we can graph on the one-dimensional number line. Greater than or equal to gives us a solid dot, right? Now we have a and compound inequality, so we should have a segment with two solid endpoints. And then we have an or compound inequality, and so we have an overlapping, or basically a line that contains all points. You can be less than 1 and greater than 0 and be any point on the number line, right? And remember, the and or, the and were our less than absolute value inequalities, and the or were our greater than, land and gore. Remember that. Just an important point to remember. Okay, here are some concepts that we're going to begin with today, and the first is undefined terms. So there are some terms we use in geometry that are undefined. They cannot be defined using other figures. They are the most basic figures. And to name a few, we have point, line, and plane. So why don't you just kind of sketch out your quickest definition for each of these, and then come back and make sure it compares well to the definition given. So a point names a location. It's a dot. We have point P. A line, you probably have a good definition for this. I've heard you all say this before, but it is defined by 2 points, right? And all of the points that's between and beyond them. So they say here that it is a straight path. There's no thickness. It never ends. A plane is defined by 3 points, right? And it is a flat surface. No thickness. Never ends. So if you are collinear, if you are points that are collinear, what do you have in common? You share a line, right? Co means sharing, so sharing a line. Coplanar then are points on the same plane, or it could be lines on the same plane, okay? Planes on the same plane. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can answer these 2 questions. And so 4 coplanar points might be A, B, C, D. They're all on this flat surface, right? And 3 lines, lots of choices. And we have AE, BE, CE, DE would work as well, right? Take a moment to think about these terms and jot a little note down. What are they in your definition today? What would your definition be? And come back and check it out. So a segment is 2 points and all the points between them. An endpoint is the point at the end of a segment, or it could be the start of a ray. Now a ray is like a line, but it has a starting point, right? A part of a line that starts at endpoints and then extend forever. So a part of a line that starts at an endpoint and extends forever. Opposite rays, opposite means they are using the same endpoint, and together they would form a line because they're going in opposite directions. So can you draw a segment with endpoints M and N and opposite rays with a common endpoint T? Come back and check. Segment and basically a line with a point T. Now remember to pause the video when you want to check your work or do a little work, and then come back and check it with the video, okay? Draw and label a ray with endpoint M that contains N. And so a ray with an endpoint M and contains a point N could look like this, right? And it could go any direction on your paper, right? So, an axiom could also be known as a postulate. So a postulate, when you hear that term, is a statement that is accepted as true without proof. Postulates about points, lines, and planes help us describe geometric properties. Accepted as true without proof. So some of these terms we've been using are postulates: points, lines, and planes. Through any 2 points, there is exactly one line. Through any 3 non-collinear points, there is exactly one plane containing them. And if 2 points lie in a plane, then the line containing those points lies on the plane. These are your first 3 postulates. Okay, so go ahead and pause your video and answer these questions, or go ahead and see if you could sketch these things and come back and check your work. Sketch 2 lines intersecting at exactly 1 point. Might look like this. Maybe you identified the lines with points. You named them. Good for you. Sketch a figure that shows a line that lies in a plane. Always fun creating a plane on your plane of paper. Most often a parallelogram kind of image is drawn. And there's a line on that one. And finally, sketch a figure that shows 2 lines intersect in 1 point in a plane, but only one of the lines lies in the plane. I think these are fun. We're showing a line that is not lying in the plane, and we see that the plane is hiding a part of the line back here, which is why you see the dashed piece of line, and then it's coming out down below, right? And then we have this line that lies on the plane, so it appears to be solid the whole way across. Okay, at the end of each lesson you have lesson quizzes, and you pause the video, practice. When you're ready, come back and check it out, and then there's an assignment that follows. So go ahead and answer these questions and come back when you're ready to see these answers, and then you'll move on to lesson quiz part 2. The 2 opposite rays, CB and CD. Remember, you must start with the endpoint when you're naming a ray. So C is the endpoint here. And we have a point on BC. A point on ray BC possibly could be D, right? The only one I see here. The intersection of plane N and plane T is line BD. A plane containing E, D, and B. A plane containing those would be plane right here, plane T. Now, when naming a plane, you'll see that a different font is used than the font that is used to name the points for the lines on the plane or around the plane. Okay, so plane T. And finally, can you draw each of the following? And then come back and check it with these samples here. A line intersecting a plane at 1 point. There you go. And again, you might have named the point. Good for you. A ray with endpoint P that passes through Q. And there you go. And this is your assignment today. Have fun, good luck, and welcome to geometry.